Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Weevil here, back with another video. So, windups have done it again. They have won North America, South America, and now the European Championships in the year 2012. Congratulations to windups. Congratulations to the Milan native who won the event. I think his name is Stefano Memoli. And I'm just going to be going through his deck list. I know everyone is looking at the more interesting deck lists because there has not been a more standard set of decks and more predictable set in the top 32 in quite a while. We just see Dino Rabbit, Insectors, Chaos Dragons, Windups, yada yada yada. One Dark World deck and one Watt deck. Becca Capital G, for example, is talking about the Watt deck on his channel, but I am still interested in this deck list. Why? Because it proves to me that only the staple cards in a Windup deck are required to win. You can make variations like this guy has, because his build is quite different from Tyler Tabman's, and he can still top. Which means it's all about the loop, and that, if anything, proves to me that it is a loop that is winning games, and it is Windup Hunter or Windup Carrier that needs to be banned / limited. Anyway, let's get to the deck list. Okay, so he's got 3 Effect Veiler, 2 Max C. They're the hand traps. Sangan, 3 Tour Guides from the Underworld, and 1 Tour Bus from the Underworld. Probably to put Carrier back in the extra deck. 1 Windup Hunter, 2 Windup Magician, 3 Windup Rat, 3 Windup Rabbit, 3 Windup Shark. As for the spells, he's got 1 Book of Moon, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Mind Control, 1 Monster Reborn, 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, 1 Pot of Avarice, 1 Soul Taker, and 2 Windup Factories. For the traps, he's got 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Solemn Judgment, 2 Solemn Warning, and 2 Torrential Tribute. As for the side and extra, for the side we've got 2 DD Crows, 1 Max C, 2 Snowman Eater, 3 Dimensional Fisher, 1 Mystical Space Typhoon, 1 Soul Taker, 1 Windup Factory, 1 Dimensional Prison, and 3 shadow-imprisoning Mirrors. As for the extra deck, for the rank 3s, we have Leviair, Musa Rhythm, the String Djinn, Leviathan Dragon, Giga Brilliant, Tempo, and Zenmaines. The rank 4s, I think we just have Utopia. And for the rank 5s, we have Adrius, Tyrus, Crimson Shadow, Armor Ninja, and Windup Arsenal Zenmaia. And of course, not forgetting the 3 Windup Carriers and Mighties, which are, pretty much staples. And finally, we have 1 Stardust Dragon. I think it was listed as Malefic Stardust Dragon, but Stardust Dragon has to be correct. So anyway, let's move on to the analysis. Okay, well the first thing to note is the number of hand traps he has in the deck. He main decks 2 Max C. I made a video about this recently, saying that main decking Max C is actually not a bad idea, considering that 9 out of the 32 of the top 32 were Windup decks. So people would have every reason to main deck Max C. The other thing to note is that, unlike Tyler Tabman's deck, this guy does not run instant fusions, which obviously helps if you're trying to get 3 level 3 monsters on the field to go for a loop, because 3 level 3 monsters is typically what you need to loop 3 or even 4 cards out of their hand if you perhaps have a tour bus to put a carrier back in the extra deck. As for the spells and traps, they are pretty standard apart from the 1 Soul Taker, which I do see a lot of people teching in nowadays, because you're always going to come up against Chaos Dragons, and hitting that Light Pulsar early is always a good idea, just because you get in the graveyard, it's done and dusted, can't bring back a Red Eyes, and it's just a really good thing to do. The card is also particularly versatile in that you get to choose the monster that you destroy. It has to be face up, fair enough. Your opponent gets 1,000 life points, but who cares? If that's the difference between you looping them and not looping them, it's totally worth it, in my honest opinion. The traps are completely standard. They're just concentrating on field control, just like Tyler Tabman's build, except he ran Mirror Force as well. So this guy just runs double Bottomless, Solemn Brigade, and 2 Torrential Tributes. Basically, if you can clear off the field quickly enough, it's not going to matter what you destroy, even if it's your own stuff. You're going to be able to loop the next turn. Your opponent's going to lose most of the cards in their hand, and you're basically going to have control. So if you get a -1 that turn, it doesn't matter, because you're just going to plus like crazy the next turn. And that's a direct commentary on the mentality of this particular deck. It's just like Chaos Dragons. Chaos Dragons will gladly Dark Hole themselves if they have a Red Eyes, Dark Smell Dragon, and a Light Pulsar face in the field, just like Windups will gladly Torrential Tribute themselves if they have an Adrius or a Tyrus or something stupid like that, which they don't care if it gets destroyed. Then next turn, they can just go and loop you. So that is, for me, the reason why this deck needs to go. It's because it can generate disadvantage for itself and then just gain instant advantage the next turn. It's just silly. Now, as for the side and extra deck, they are pretty damn standard, though I do say so myself. They're very similar to Tyler Tabman's. There's not really much point commenting on the ones except the ones that are interesting. So the DD Crows are standard, Insectors, Dark Worlds, yada yada yada. Max C's are from the mirror match. He's already main decking 2, so he's just putting the 3rd one. Obviously against a mirror match, maybe against Dino Rabbit on occasion. The Snowman Eaters against Dino Rabbit, the Dimensional Fissures siding in against Chaos Dragons, so that because it doesn't affect windups, they can just attach materials and they don't go to the graveyard, they don't go to the banished pile. The 3rd MST for back row hate, final countdown, burn, and other stupid stuff like that. The 2nd Soul Taker for a bit more field control and field presence. The third Wind Up Factory if he wants to loop even quicker. And finally, Dimensional Prison and 3 Shadow-Imprisoning Mirrors. Dimensional Prison against those more offensive decks where you just want to banish stuff for good and don't want it to come back. 3 Shadow-Imprisoning Mirrors against the likes of Insectors and Dark Worlds. The extra deck is nothing special apart from the Tempo and Musa Rhythm and Wind Up Arsenal Zenmaines, which you don't see too often. The Stardust Dragon doesn't really make sense to me. You could go into him with Effect Failure plus like level 4 plus level 3, but I mean, I'm not sure when he would be in a situation to do that and when he would decide not to loop. And when he would decide to normal summon the Effect Failure instead of just like going Magician, Shark, Rat, Shark, Overlay, yada yada, etc. But anyway, Tempo is particularly good. He did make an appearance in the finals. He was really, really effective. Just attaching materials can be so trolly, you know? And Musa Rhythm, since we don't have Acid Golem, we have to use this guy. And he's still not that bad a card. But I honestly wouldn't choose him over, say, a second Zenmaines. But I'm sure if this guy had a second Zenmaines, that's what he would have been running. Anyway, there's not a lot I can say about the deck, other than the fact that it is so similar to Untitled Tabman's. It's just sickening, to be honest. Wind-up decks can be so similar and so standard that it doesn't matter about any of the cards in between the loop cards. As long as you can loop them, you're still going to win. You could run a really bad build of wind-ups, but as long as you ran the 3 Carrier, the 3 Rat, the 3 Shark, the 3 Rabbit, or whatever, you would still be able to loop and win. You could run wind-up Soldiers in multiples if you wanted, but it wouldn't make any difference because you'd still just be able to loop, and you'd still just be at an unfair advantage. That is why this deck needs to get hit, but I want to know what you guys think. Does the deck need to get hit? If so, what needs to get hit? In my personal opinion, they could be kind or cruel. If they're kind, they'll limit Carrier and they'll limit Rat. If they're cruel, they'll ban Hunter and end it all. But who's to say the deck can still be viable with Insector-based variants using cards such as Monster Slots? In my opinion, however, the win condition is gone if the loop is gone. But I'm going to finish the analysis there. Anyway guys, that is it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe as always. I'd also like to thank you for all the support you've given me recently with regard to subscribers and views. I've gotten more views in the last week and a half than I've gotten in the first month of my channel, which is amazing. So I'd like to thank you guys for that. Anyway guys, keep an eye out for my other videos. I've got another video in the Answers to the Meta series as well as the Rules of the Game series. So keep an eye out for those. Okay guys, talk to you guys later. See ya.